Sean Crispin with you from Dallas, and Jalen Duren with an easy win of the tip. Memphis will begin it with Alex Lomax for the Red Hot Tigers. 6 consecutive wins, including 3 straight on the road. One of those Saturday at Houston. This is DeAndre Williams for Memphis, hung up in the air, and that's what Memphis... Here's your SMU starting 5. Davis is back in there after missing the game Wednesday. Bandamel and Nuttall, great shooters. And the Weathers twins, Michael and Marcus, grad transfers who've made a major impact on this team. Here's Davis on the first possession, and boy, does that ankle look good as he elevates for a 3.
Well, it's good stuff, good ball movement, right? Basketball moves a little bit. They're comfortable on the offensive side. Everybody touches it. You swing and get you one of your best players, an open look early.
3rd consecutive game of the same starting 5 for Memphis. Landers Nolly's played really well. The freshman Duren with Williams, Quinones, and Lomax.
Oh boy.
And Duren muscles his way in against an SMU starting lineup where nobody's bigger than 6'5".
Oh boy. I mean, that was just a grown man against just smaller men.
Alex Lomax, the Memphis steals leader, with a takeaway. And here's the grown man again. Duren with a first 4 for the Tigers.
That's going to be a challenge. That's why you have to play defense early. When you're undersized, and look, I speak from experience. I was always undersized. You had to anticipate the ball rotating and jump passing lanes, keep the ball away from them. Much better job of handling the physicality of this game. It's an adjustment that everybody has to make from high school to college, college to pro. The physical adjustment's one of the toughest ones. And the speed of the game.
There's Davis around Lomax. Davis misses the jumper. Williams fights for the rebound with his teammate Nolly. And then Davis slaps it to Nolly. Memphis catches the break. Lomax penetrating. And a difficult shot goes for the senior Alex Lomax.
Terry Weimer tells Memphis, let the ball fall. I just got to say, being here on court, the size difference it's hard to believe. Memphis is a big team, great length.
Weathers shot followed up by his brother Michael Weathers. This is Nuttall. Strong at a 3, and look at Duren flying high for the rebound at 6'11", 250.
Yeah, there's a team in Memphis who's going to play above the rim for the majority of this game. And SMU's got to make perimeter shots, which means you got to get as many early good looks as possible. Find a good rhythm to this game if you're SMU.
Lomax searching for Duren again. Instead, it's DeAndre Williams. Around to Quinones, and Bandamel's deflection knocks it. Memphis winners of 10 straight games in the month of February. Half of those this year. And another turnover here as Nolly was well defended by Bandamel.
Go down at this point where they're really starting to find out who they are.
Look at this trap. Bandamel got it back off the deflection. Memphis hounding full court, but it leads to an open 3, and then Davis chases down his own miss. Weathers. And SMU cold from the outside to start.
Well, they're getting good looks, and I often talk about clappable misses. They're misses that are good looks, and you'll start to make them. Like we always say, water finds its level. Well, shots do start to fall.
Nuttall from Bandamel. Nuttall is fouled.
They were seeing Tyler Harris kept energy high, made plays, gave everybody confidence to simulate for an opponent. There's nothing you can do if you're SMU to simulate what you're going to go up against from Tyler Harris, and SMU can't get free throws or shots from the perimeter to fall.
Nuttall just 18 for 33 at the free throw line this year as he misses both. And here is the Jitterbug Harris, 5'9", 148. He's led Memphis in scoring in more games than any player this year. Off the bench at 9.9 points per game. Quinones at 3. Deep into the shot clock. Quinones off the iron. Nuttall corrals the SMU rebound. The Mustangs team that's gone 12-0 in Moody Coliseum this year. They've won 14 consecutive home games. Davis passes up a 3. Got Harris on him. Tried to find a cutting Nuttall, and Dandridge knocked it away for a turnover.
Yeah, length just covers a lot of ground. I mean, you may think you're open. That's Tyler Harris for you.
Offensive rebound to Dandridge. Stripped. And a takeaway for Michael Weathers, who's the SMU steals leader.
The togetherness, the chemistry, the culture that wins out in the end.
It's not last year where Gonzaga and Baylor were lapping the field for much of the season, ultimately meeting in the national title game. There's a 10-second violation. SMU couldn't get it over in time, and this with the ball, 19 to shoot.
It is, but ultimately SMU's got to look at that pressure and not try to pass over the length of Memphis. They have great length on the floor right now. You've got to attack it off the bounce. You've got to have enough guys, Kendrick Davis being one of them, that you can trust with the bounce.
Franklin Aganade in the game for SMU, the big man. 2 to shoot for Weathers. He does not know it, and SMU will turn it over for a third time.
And that's a head scratcher here on the floor outside Tyler Harris. No offense, Tyler Harris, but great length, which will be disruptive in and of itself.
There's Dandridge and Aganade. Aganade faces up well, and the little used big holds Dandridge to a missed shot.
I think Aganade and Dandridge are a good matchup. That's a nice take.
Vanderbilt with a pretty finish. First field goal for SMU at about 4.5 minutes. From the senior out of Quebec, Emmanuel Bandamel.
Yeah, and I like Marcus Weathers on Jalen Duren. Duren's a little more skilled. Dandridge is more of a physical body, so that's where Aganade is going to be the guy.
Got Michael in the game right now as Aganade gives Marcus that breather. Michael will face DeAndre Williams. Williams into the paint, out to Quinones. He's been hot from late, and he misses a 3 here. Lawson takes away the rebound. Up and in for Chandler Lawson off the bench for Memphis.
Yeah, that's something Tim Jankovic talked a lot about, where he said, look, guys, look, another steal.
Williams with a takeaway. Williams steps in and scores. SMU's turned it over 4 times, and all 10 points for Memphis have come in the paint. And Davis is fouled and hit hard by Quinones. Will pick up his first.
Trying to get you to understand that it's going to take an adjustment from SMU to be able to manage this kind of pressure and length.
Marcus Weathers back on the floor for SMU. Jaden Hardaway's in the game along with Josh Minot, very good freshman for the first time for Memphis. It's knocked away from Aganade.
Defensively, plays much better on the offensive end. Can overcome a lot of mistakes.
Memphis over the last 5 games has held its opponents to less than 34% shooting. Davis a blow by and a score. An early 5 for Kendrick Davis in his return from injury.
If they're under pressure, and if they're going to jump passing lanes to get steals, you've got to be able to attack. Keep that defense honest by back cutting and driving the basketball.
Minot trying to play a little high-low with Dandridge.
You commit yourself to dribbling, then you pick it up and you have to pass. I think if you turn and face, even look to shoot, you end up making a better decision. There you go, middle of the floor.
Nice break. And Aganade on the feed from Weathers. Beautifully handled, 94 feet by SMU for the bucket.
But again, you dribble towards other defenders, get the defense to commit. That's where the middle of the floor starts to open up.
That's what Kendrick Davis has been oh so good at in his time here in the Hilltop. Dandridge throws it away. Memphis. For Memphis, this has been oh so good at in his time here in the Hilltop. Dandridge throws it away. Memphis. For Memphis, it's the good, it's the bad, and it's the Memphis. They turn you over, they give up a lot of turnovers. And this is Weathers finishing the Phelps miss. Again, SMU able to handle the pressure the last couple of possessions, and they've scored the last 6 points. Jaden Hardaway forcing it on the rim, and Hardaway gets it to go.
Talked a lot about guys like DeAndre Williams who haven't been able to play. They get back in the lineup and you're a much better team. I think Jaden Hardaway is another one of those guys.
Aganade, good shot fake that didn't go up with it, with Duren back in there. Davis fakes a 3.
Oh,
2-pointers blocked by Minot.
How much ground some of these guys can cover.
Memphis turns to shot blocking, one of the best in the country. 4th best block rate in the nation. Weathers, that one blocked, but illegally so. That's going to be a goaltend against Duren.
Some goaltends, right? When you think you had a clean look and someone ends up just taking away, even though you get the 2 points, it plays with you mentally and it makes you rethink taking shots around the rim.
Hardaway misses a 3. Duren trying to go over the top. And it's a rebound for Aganade, and he's fouled. Well, next year we'll have you select the whole field.
You don't want that. I don't want that. Before I do I'll cancel my Twitter.
Yeah. It'll be you and Bill Walton. It'll be all 12 Pac-12 teams will be in there.
Totally fair.
throw it down. Here's Davis for SMU, which has gone 5 for 7 since a 1 for 6 start. And Davis improves that with a three-pointer. 5 possessions in a row, SMU has scored.
Davis has a little hitch in his shot, and Hardaway almost got to it. I thought it was good defense. If you're going to make tough shots early in the clock, got to live with it.
Inside to Duren. Over the double team. Jalen Duren, a smooth delivery.
He's just different. He is a lot different than who he was when the season started. He has really learned, I should say. He learned how to play the game at this level, be patient when he needs to be patient. He wins the position battle first and then makes a good decision.
There are several NBA scouts and members of NBA front offices here. We saw Sam Presti of the Thunder before the game. I would guess that number 2 in black and blue is the headliner for those folks.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Here's a three in the corner. It's long for the freshman Zurich Phelps. And Duren runs the floor. Duren caught the ball and then as he went down to the ground hard, missed the shot. So SMU has numbers. Duren just now getting back in the play. And he's able to do so without giving up the advantage.
A lot of hands out.
A lot of hand checking by Quinones. Nuttall swirls out at 3. Offensive rebound to Weathers. Phelps fumbles and a takeaway for Duren.
The physicality on the bounce, and I heard Jay Billis talking about this, about calling hand checks with freedom of movement. I don't know what happened to that. There's a lot of hand checking out there, and I don't know what that was.
Nolly with a miss with Phelps in his face. Nolly was trying to draw a foul. SMU's yet to commit a foul. Memphis 5. Nuttall again.
I mean, that's the look that you've got to take and you've got to eventually make, but you should feel good about the ball movement that got you that open look. Again, capitalize on that aggressive defense from Memphis.
All 14 points in the paint right now for Memphis. Tigers winners of 6 in a row, 10 straight in February. SMU 14 straight wins at home. Nolly misses on a 3. Long rebound. And it is up for grabs for Duren, who flushes it.
Those 50-50 balls, it has to be, for SMU to win, it probably needs to be more like 70-30 balls. They need to win those because the rebounding battle, that's going to be a challenge. Oh, that's a high-level finish.
Marcus Weathers into the teeth of Duren.
Kind of sold a little ball fake, allowed him to elevate prior to Duren elevating, and he got up.
Memphis has Lomax back at the scorers table. They've not been the same offensively since he picked up his second foul.
Well, the challenge is to keep him on the floor if he comes in with those 2 fouls. Because of this aggressive defense, they're chasing hard.
Nolly misses. Offensive rebound to Quinones. Memphis is so good at that, cleaning up their misses, and they clean up one here nearly. We welcome those of you who just... Memphis, the 4th team in. 2 teams squarely on the bubble. And so far it's been the Mustangs by 1 in a back-and-forth first half. On the bubble. And so far it's been the Mustangs by 1 in a back-and-forth first half.
And SMU's done a good job of adjusting to the pressure, the length, the athleticism of this Memphis Tigers defense. And offensively, Memphis has been able to dominate the paint. They're going to win that battle. SMU's got to be better on the glass and win every single 50-50 ball to the point where they're no longer 50-50 balls.
Marcus Weathers misses. Jamar Young is hacked and fouled. 2 free throws coming for Jamar Young Jr. for SMU.
SMU's also going to have to make some of these open shots. They're getting a lot of open shots because of the over-rotation, the flocking to the basketball. There's doubles at times. Sometimes they are calculated doubles from Memphis. Sometimes they just feel it and they go. They attack defensively. But you've got to make some of those open three-point shots at some point and start to penalize a pressure defense.
Just joining us, SMU does have Kendrick Davis back. He missed the loss at Temple Wednesday with an ankle injury. He has an early 8 points. No Jalen Smith, no Tristan Clark off the bench for SMU, both out with injuries. For Memphis, no Earl Timberlake, and again, no Imani Bates. Tigers 8 for 20 from the field, SMU 8 for 19. And now each team has turned it over 5 times. Michael Weathers to his brother Marcus. Marcus spinning, and Marcus will get back to the free throw line. 7 fouls against Memphis, only 1 on SMU, and Williams picks up his first. ESPN News viewer, on the other hand, SMU unbeaten at home this year, 12-0, 14 straight wins at Moody Coliseum. So, a couple of streaks will come to an end one way or another this afternoon.
Just think, if you go back early in the season, in terms of what we watched from Memphis, they are a different team. They still have their offensive issues, but they have locked in defensively. And I always feel like that sense of urgency mid-late season helps eliminate a lot of selfishness.
Memphis 5 on the floor, brought to you by CDW. Right now it's 4 starters and then Dandridge in the game right now, with Duran getting a breather, including Alex Lomax, who's playing after 2 early fouls. Here he is. Lomax somehow finds Quinones, and then Nolly hits a 3 off the skip. Memphis' first 3-pointer of the game after an 0-for-6 start.
Well, that was good stuff. That's good movement offensively.
SMU on the floor, also brought to you by CDW. 4 starters right now, including the likely conference player of the year in Kendrick Davis. This is Marcus Weathers. He of the Weathers twins. He and his brother Michael, 6th-year players, grad transfers. Got to be Davis now at the end of the shot clock. Davis hoists it, and he did not hit the rim. So a shot clock violation turns it over for SMU. 6th turnover for the Mustangs.
You have to probe and you have to be calculated against Memphis defensively in terms of SMU on the offensive end. But at the same time, you've got to be assertive and aggressive in your attack. When the ball just moves around the perimeter, you play into the hands of a good defense. And Memphis has been just that.
Memphis the best field goal percentage team in the American, but the most turnovers by far, 4th most in the country. Nolly, he's starting to feel it. Back-to-back buckets for Landers Nolly.
It was good movement the last possession, and again, you run some good action that gets the defense moving, and then you capitalize on a matchup advantage that you like.
Davis around Lomax, playing with those 2 fouls, and Davis turns the corner. He's got 10.
Yeah, smart play by Davis, knowing that Lomax is important to this team. The offense has ran better when Lomax has been on the floor. We saw that early, and they've run good stuff since he's been back.
Nolly on the cut.
Man.
Good find from Dandridge, and 3 baskets in a row for Landers Nolly, who is playing the best basketball these last 3 games of his Memphis career.
I think he's a beneficiary of good action on the offensive end. All stuff that happens more when Alex Lomax is on the floor.
Weathers lost it on the way up. Young collected it for a moment, and it'll be Memphis ball.
See what happened. He loses it. That's a tough one. I don't think he ever had possession.
I think if our seats were like 3 inches taller, we'd have a great view of that.
I need a booster. I do. I need a booster.
Yeah.
The doctor that told me I was supposed to be 6'5" lied. Still haven't hit my growth spurt.
What doctor was that? Nolly might have been in trouble. Nolly again. And his first miss in the last 4 possessions. He wanted a foul. And there's a flop warning instead from John Higgins. And they didn't stop play to do it, which is great. Davis has Williams switched on to him right now. Davis around Williams. Shot fake and smothered by Nolly. Weathers picks it up. Agunade tips it back to Weathers. SMU's been great on the offensive glass. And it leads to a Marcus Weathers 3.
Now here comes the flop warning. That's a big possession. SMU's not banking on getting a ton of offensive rebounds, but if you are able to get offensive rebounds, to capitalize with a make is huge.
7 offensive rebounds in the game for SMU. Memphis, a great offensive rebounding team, one of the best in the country. They're only the 2nd worst defensive rebounding team in the American, and SMU, despite the lack of size compared to Memphis, has taken advantage.
Memphis is a tough one because they get to the basket, they get to the block, they take tough contested shots, but everyone crashes. So you have a number of bodies crashing against the defense. It's kind of out of position because you have to bring some help to guys on the blocks. That's going to be a foul.
Another second against SMU. Michael Weathers picks it up.
I'm watching guys kind of politic with the officials. Weathers didn't think he fouled anybody. Landers Nolly trying to convince officials that he got fouled and he didn't flop. I always wonder how much it plays into possibly getting a call go your way, right? The officials are human. We talked about the adjustment that officials have to make this year, considering last year that they're calling games in front of no one. The energy's down. There's a little bit more of a rational approach to games. Different with the fans back.
Tyler Harris back in the game. Harris gets up a three, and DeAndre Williams picks it up. Jalen Duren's back out there as well for Memphis as Quinones hits his first basket.
Tyler Harris is a guy that can take over a basketball game, but he has to do it once he feels the game out. You can't just come in and take tough shots. Feel the game out a little bit. Find where you're going to have opportunities.
Vanderbilt over Lomax. Williams stumbling away. Thought he was hit. Got the ball out to Lomax after the rebound. Quinones just hit, and he buries a three.
Their ball movement's been much better. And I think I go back to it. A lot of that's Alex Lomax. Alex Lomax makes you better on the offensive end, not because of production, but because of movement.
Davis in and out. Memphis has 9 assists on 13 makes. Lomax has a couple of those. Could be another one. Instead, Quinones shot fake. Gets it back. And buries a three.
But who'd it come from? Alex Lomax set up multiple offensive actions just to get Quinones a look. I mean, that's the leadership that you need. I mean, defensively, they're going to be what they are, right? Great length. They're going to pressure the basketball. They're going to get offensive rebounds. But if you can run good action to get good shots and start to play the matchups or guys that are making shots, Memphis is dangerous.
It's an 8-0 run by Quinones alone. Aguinane with a loose change and a score. Franklin Aguinane, 0.9 point per game scorers, got 4.
0.9 points per game.
Less than a point per game.
Let's just put it this way. Usually the guy that scores 0.9 points per game doesn't make your game board. Is that a correct assumption?
It's a very small font, I'll tell you that much. Williams, this is a three. Stefan Todorovic in the game of the SMU rebound. Davis sensed an opening, and then he threw it right to Williams. Williams. And Todorovic held up well. SMU crowd wanted to walk, and they'll get a miss instead.
Memphis just has to play. There's a high elbow, but they're going to call Tyler Harris on the hand check.
His second foul. So Harris and Lomax each with 2, but Memphis with the lead.
Yeah, Memphis is starting to find the hot hand. And again, I have calculated selfishness that you need from some of your most talented players. But you've got to find a way to mold that. Again, I like the word selfishness. I think you've got to be a guy that knows he can contribute at a high level. You've got to find a way to make that work within what you do and with who you're doing it with. And that takes time.
2 free throws for Emmanuel Vanderbilt there. Alex Lomax is off the floor right now. Memphis 9 of 14 with Lomax in the game, 5 of 16 without. Harris stays in despite the 2 fouls as Memphis works it to Duren. And Duren is fouled by Aguinane, his first and only the 3rd against SMU.
So they're allowing the arm bar. You know, if you're backing the guy down, you can arm bar. But when it goes to spin, you can't continue to push on it. They're going to call that. It's a tough matchup for Aguinane. Better when Dandridge is in the game, but at the same time, you can't ask Marcus Weathers to hold ground against Jalen Duren the entire game.
Nolly missed it. Aguinane the rebound for SMU, which is +5 right now on the glass, including 8 offensive rebounds.
Well, they've done a good job staying home, not chasing the basketball, doubling, just force tough shots.
Weathers, Aguinane, 6 points for the Nigerian native, the Loyola Chicago transfer, Franklin Agunane. Five to shoot. Minot. Rejected by Weathers. Elevation for Michael Weathers at 6'3". Under a minute to play in this back and forth first half. Davis buries a three. 9-0 run.
Yeah, Penny Hardaway wants a timeout. You've got to get some vocal guy. He does it with production. And he does it by making the game easier for everybody else. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Foul on Marcus Weathers. Nothing I could say will enhance that reaction. Marcus is first.
It's interesting watching some of the body language from Memphis when they have turnovers. It's a lot of looking around, right? It's like, well, you should have done this. They just got to get into that play-on mentality. Just play on.
Harris. Davis got knocked down.
Harris wants the shot.
He may have to take a shot at this point. He will. Left it short. Agunane the rebound.
That's where you don't want to allow the defense to get set. Get up into some action. He wants to shoot over Harris.
Davis at three. Yes! Now that is how you punctuate a first half, Kendrick Davis.
Kendrick Davis, all the confidence in the world going against the smaller Tyler.
Agunane off the bench with Tristan Clark out with an injury.
He barely made your game notes. Barely. He's in like 8.5
big boxes, and he's the 11th guy.
Yeah, and look at him. Look, he's giving great effort against a team that requires some size and physicality, some toughness. He's been great on the glass. He's defended well. What more could you ask?
SMU goes inside against that size, and Michael Weathers, who was scoreless in the first half, delivers off the feed from his twin Marcus. For Memphis, Duran had 9. Quinones had 8 points in a row at one point. Alex Lomax only 2 points, 3 assists, but with him on the floor, Memphis was much better. They're plus 10 with Lomax out there.
Look, sometimes stats don't tell the whole story. They just tell some of it.
Nolly pulls up, and a miss for Nolly, rebounded by DeAndre Williams. Quinones will take a corner two. That's not even close. Nolly has it. Shot clock did not reset. Lomax says no screen for Duran. Duran calling for it over Weathers, and that was why.
Yeah, and that's where Nuttall, he was there. There's no reason why you swipe at that. You get yourself in position to at least deter the pass. But you also show up and get hands high. There's no reason to just fly by expecting Jalen Duran's going to miss a dunk opportunity.
Right now it's the 6'5" Quinones on Davis. Kendrick had 4 threes in the first half.
Whatever happened to freedom of movement?
Weathers a step back three.
Why not?
Here's Nolly stepping in. Landers Nolly rattles it home. 9 points for Nolly.
Nolly's been big for them. You had mentioned that Penny Hardaway talked one of the previous games about getting him going early. And I think that's been key for them. Having one of your best scorers on the floor early to help not only find the rhythm, but create the rhythm in the game.
Davis has had Quinones fall over. How is there not a foul? And finally there is.
Look, I love what Memphis is doing in terms of their pressure defense, but it's up to the officials to clean this up. Freedom of movement, hand checking on the ball handler. This is just what we've seen all first half. And the thing is, players are saying, what are you calling that for? Because you haven't called it yet. I wish we went to 6 fouls and you call it early to establish the way the game's going to be called. Then it's a pass, it's a charge. But Duran just got the ball in a tough situation. Not a bad play, just didn't go their way. Like this, picking up pressure again if you're Memphis. Key is, I mean, again, more hands on the ball handler.
Weathers a step. Again, it's Weathers to Weathers.
Memphis has to be careful. Now that they called that hand checking, you've got to be careful with two hands on the ball handler. Adjust to it, play hands wide, active hands. Just not pushy hands.
Davis trying to draw a foul against Lomax, a little feint. And then inside the Lomax. And out of bounds off of Lomax.
If I'm Memphis, I want to go back to playing through Alex Lomax. Good things happen, but the ball movement, attack the pressure, drive, get the commitment from the defense, dish. I mean, that's just simple basketball. It's pretty basketball, but it's simple. Those are the things that you watch back as a coach, even as an analyst. You watch back and go, why can't we replicate that?
Weathers again, his brother Marcus Weathers, who missed it long. Nollies. He was shot ready right in front of the Memphis bench at 3. And then down the floor, Michael Weathers could not track it down. SMU turnover, number 9.
Yeah, Nolly's been shooting with a ton of confidence. I mean, he really is seeking his shot. You can tell when a guy seeks his shot out, knowing in his mind if he gets it, he's going to take it and make it. It's a different shot. It's a higher percentage shot. And now it's up to Memphis to work to find him, but also work to get him open.
Turnover against Davis, his 3rd. Does not have an assist in the game, though he scored 16. This is Duran looking for a cutter, and Bandamel saved it. Turnover number 8 for Memphis, and then a takeaway here off the shoe of Michael Weathers. Duran up to Williams, missed the dunk. Here's Davis running the floor, and he can't finish.
All right, good breather from DeAndre Williams. Now you got to get something good. It's been up and down. It's been a little chaotic. That's good stuff. That is good experienced basketball from Williams. Guy who's played a lot, and he's meant the world to this team. You think the plus-minus numbers on him coming in, and I thought that was remarkable.
Last 4 games, plus 47 with him, plus 9 without him. That's since his return.
It was like the Tom Cruise night and day. With me, without me. With me, without me.
Help me, John, help you. Here's Weathers off the steal, and a finish over Lomax, who didn't want to pick up his 3rd foul. Marcus Weathers with 14 points for SMU, the 12-point per game scorer, their 2nd leading scorer on the year. Williams has Davis on him, then want to take advantage of it. Quinones misses a 3.
I want to see who can string together some good possessions on both sides of the ball, right? Good defensive possessions, some good offensive possessions. Find a little rhythm and a little flow here. Something that you can take into a late game situation.
6 to shoot for Davis around Lomax, and then a foul on Lomax, his 3rd foul. A 2-point lead for SMU. A lot of basketball left in this big bubble game.
The way he did when he started, but so differently, if that makes sense to anyone.
So the former SMU head coach, Larry Brown, is a Memphis assistant for the first time this year. Both he and Coach K, Hall of Famers, both former Olympic coaches. Nuttall flat on a 3. Malcolm Dandridge off the bench for Memphis with a rebound. Jaden Hardaway's in the game as well. And Dandridge nearly turns it over, and then he did turn it over on the pass from Williams. Bandamel all the way home. And then a terrible inbound pass. Davis nearly took it away, and then Williams is called for a foul. His 2nd.
I like the fight from Williams to get back in that play. I thought he made
for Memphis and a half, none for SMU. Foul disparity in this game is 12-4. Memphis has only taken 2 free throw attempts in the game. Agonade back on the floor. Agonade delivers. He had 13 points total in his first 15 games. He's got 8 today.
I think he's going to earn a bigger spot on your game board next to him.
He'll be size 10.5 font, no question,
with a
come
highlight.
Sunday. My goodness. Davis. Vandemel got Hardaway in the air and buries a three.
This is a timeout situation. Yep, Penny Hardaway's going to take the timeout because right now SMU's been able to operate. They've gotten into action. They've committed to offensive action. They've explored those options, found counters, good ball movement. And Vandemel, you down guard, take over a game guard. So completely different playing without him. You got to give Aaron McKee all the credit in the world. Not an easy job.
Out of the timeout, Lomax. And that's 6 consecutive empty possessions for Memphis.
I think Alex Lomax has to be that stabilizer from a facilitation standpoint.
The freshman Phelps and Duran says no thank you. Jalen Duran, the American shot block leader, with his 3rd block today. You got to go in a little bit stronger in this game.
You got to just pass it out. Are you kidding me? Like, Jalen Duran has great timing. Obviously, good coordination when it comes to finding the ball up in the air. The body control. He's a pro that is going to be developing for the next 5 years, 5-6 years.
Weathers off to Aganade, and we got a foul. Alex Lomax looking around, thinking, I hope it's not against me. It is. That's the 4th foul on Alex Lomax.
That's where you've got to be more disciplined. He is so important to this group. They've been so much. Now he's got 4 fouls. I go right at him. You got to know he's got 4 fouls. They couldn't get Tyler Harris to the scores table quickly enough. Right back.
This has happened a couple of times with Memphis this year as Davis buries a 3 over the charging Lomax. A couple of times this year, Memphis has had a player pick up a 4th foul, and they've been late to recognize it.
I think part of it was just, to give Memphis credit, I'm not sure they knew who the foul was on.
Davis. Weathers. Lomax went flying by. Davis again.
How about the defense from Lawson? It was like a 4-on-1, and the length of Lawson just deterred everything at the rim.
Well, he is an athletic freak, Chandler Lawson. 4 to shoot for Davis. Got Hardaway on him. Davis, step back 3. You bet! He is untouchable. Quinones stops a 15-0 run.
That's big, and it's good execution to get your best shooter a shot. Now you have to be careful. Look, if you got Lomax on the floor, you've got to look to go into Kendrick Davis here. It's an experienced SMU team. They have to know where they're going, and that's not what you want to do. That's inexcusable.
Didn't even get a touch on that possession.
That's inexcusable.
Next stop, it's going to be the under 12 and a full breather for Memphis, and Harris will check in for Lomax.
Well, he's gone minutes. They've gone minutes at the scores table waiting to get in there.
Hardaway. Duran tips the rebound to himself. Now we'll get the under 12 as Duran's fouled on the way up. 15-3 is the SMU run, and Kendrick Davis has 22.
Look, Alex Lomax with 4 fouls. I don't know how the ball... Oh, man.
Is it good that you said you're such a dork, followed immediately by you're so you?
Yeah, it was great. It was so genuine, Kev. I love it. Look, I'm way more of a dork than anyone knows. Actually, maybe they know. I think it's a compliment.
You'd be surprised what people
in
know.
a world where everyone is super cool, I'm happy to be a dork.
Yes, amen to that. Duran misses both, and Williams tracks it down. Offensive rebound for Memphis, their 10th. And it's out of bounds off of Michael Weathers.
All right, if that was like, there's a minute and a half left in this game, how many people are twirling their little finger up in the air? Remember, like, everything is reviewed. We want to review everything in late game situations. But now it's better when you just keep flow going.
So Lomax is out of the game finally with those 4 fouls. Tyler Harris running the show for Memphis. Harris traveled.
That's the challenge with Tyler Harris. Look, I think he's in so many ways responsible for keeping Memphis alive at a time when they really didn't have energy. They didn't have any sort of consistency or edge. Tyler Harris gave them that. I think he's important to this team, but he's got to be patient in terms of finding his opportunities and seeking out scoring opportunities without forcing it.
Michael Weathers' floater got his own miss. The freshman Zurich Phelps. Michael Weathers around. Duren, no sir. Jalen Duren, a monstrosity of a block, his 4th today.
He is so impressive. There's not much you can break down on the fact that, yeah, okay, maybe he got beat off the bounce, but man, he covers some ground. I've been so impressed with Jalen Duren. I just think he's got exponentially better throughout the course of this season.
Weathers inside. He scores 16 for Marcus Weathers. He's in double figures for the 10th straight game. Memphis has turned it over 8 times in the second half. 13 for the game. Harris has not been his night so far. Lawson tips it back to him. Davis trying to wrap around. Davis poked it away. And Kendrick Davis will finish softly. Largest lead for SMU at 16. And the foul away from the ball. Zurich Phelps called for the foul on SMU.
I didn't hear a whistle, nor could I see the court. The crowd's starting to get into this. It's getting loud, and usually the courtside seats, it's where you go to be seen more so than to see the game, but they're getting up. There he is.
Hey, who are you wearing the shot again, see?
That's you. Oh, now I made it. That's Kevin and the former president. That's big time, Kev.
Thank you very much. You know I am big time. I'm the big time person in that stuff.
I did see him at the game here against Houston when they won, and I didn't see him in the melee on the court still.
No, he got out here quickly. Young from Davis, another turnover for Memphis. Weathers inside on Lomax. Lomax back in the game with those 4 fouls. Couldn't make a play. SMU leads by 18. Look at the freshman Phelps all over Lomax with a denial. Nolly, very difficult shot, didn't get the rim. SMU has been awesome defensively in this half.
Well, they've been good taking that back cut away. There was 2 separate situations where you had to take the back cut away, but also fight hard over the top of the screen, and they did just well on that last possession.
21-3 is the SMU run. This game was tied at 41, and Weathers makes it a 23-3 run. He's got 18. Davis has 24. It is a runaway train here at Moody.
I don't know. You and I have done enough Memphis basketball games to know that this is a team that has the potential to come back, particularly with what they can do defensively.
Unfortunately, they had the potential to fall back by 20 at times. Harris nearly pickpocketed again. Young tips it to Davis. SMU thriving in the chaos. Young to Phelps. 9 possessions in a row where SMU's had a shot. They have scored. Timeout, Memphis. I remember talking to Tim Jankovich before that game, and he looked white as a ghost when we asked about the matchup. He said, this is a terrible matchup for us. They're so much bigger. SMU was better in the paint that game as well. And today, different Memphis team. They're rolling. They've won 6 in a row. And once again, Tim Jankovich's team has won the fight inside.
It's impressive, but it's a disciplined approach, right? You have to allow certain shots without committing to the basketball, right? The overhelp becomes your biggest enemy if you're SMU. Why? Because you leave your backside guys in a bad situation trying to rebound against guys like Jalen Duren.
Last foul was the second on Jamar Young for SMU. Harris And Harris has had a difficult game. He's 0 for 6. He has not scored.
Yeah, it's tough when Harris doesn't get threes to go because then they're able to sag a little bit, right? Run him off the three-point line, force him into a tough jumper, and contest. And Harris just hasn't been able to get it going. And I will say this for the rest of the season. I think Tyler Harris was incredibly important to this team when they were struggling because he came in, gave them energy, gave them a lift, made tough shots, played with energy and swagger that wasn't really there at the time. Now that being said, it's been a challenge to kind of fit him into kind of a really recently resurging Memphis team.
There's Phelps. Davis finally getting a breather. Phelps nothing but net. But the wrong kind of it. Lomax. Wow. Blocked by Young.
Holy smokes.
Mine out with a steal. Lomax running ahead. Weathers was there. Now Michael Weathers. And he walks the tightrope to stay in bounds for another SMU steal.
I need a turnover or something, ball. Dead ball situation. I want to see the Young block again.
Inside to Young. He goes up. He was fouled before the shot.
I didn't see that coming. He must have timed his steps perfectly. I mean, the length, the stride. I mean, jeez.
Was it a goaltend? Was it on the backboard first?
No. I'm sure if you're a Memphis fan, there was an obvious goaltend, but I don't think it was.
Block shot was SMU's third. They've got 9 steals. They've forced 16 Memphis turnovers.
That kind of reminded me of a guy I played with at UCLA, Ryan Hollins. He had tremendous length and athleticism. I think if you're SMU and Tim Jenkins, you found some things. Some bench pieces that can give you legitimate contribution, and Memphis just struggling to take care of the basketball.
We haven't seen a lot of ugly Memphis the last couple of weeks, but this has been the ugliest Memphis has played, frankly, since the first SMU game.
See, if you watch back some of this game, you'll see some bad body language early. You know, in turnovers, you can't start looking at one another and try to figure out whose fault it is.
Davis misses an open three, and Marcus Weathers does not miss an open dunk. He's got 20. Davis and Weathers have combined for 44.
It's that body language I talk about. That's kind of been the issue, right? Where you lose interest. Your body language becomes your reality, right? You are how you feel. You are what you think type of thing. You've got to get that sense of urgency that you once had back. You got guys standing around watching a clear path to the basket. When Memphis has played with a sense of urgency, they've been dangerous. I mean, nationally dangerous. I don't think anybody in the country would love to face Memphis when they're playing their best. But they've got to have that edge. And the execution has to match that edge. You got to play with confidence. Easier said than done. I think it's a challenge.
Landers Nolly just left the game and walked into the tunnel for Memphis, by the way. Don't know what it is. Certainly Memphis has been banged up enough this year. They're pretty well sick of that, as Lomax ends a scoring drought of nearly 7 minutes for Memphis. Quinones trying to draw a foul. He did not. Others threw it away. Yeah, this is the thing with Memphis. And the last couple of weeks, they have backed up Penny Hardaway's talk. They've had basically the full team back. But just when they look unstoppable, this kind of stuff does happen sometimes. And for all we know, Memphis will come out here next time and they'll win by 25. You just never know with them. It's that inconsistency that can frustrate you so, especially given how well they played the last 6 games. This seemingly comes out of nowhere.
Well, the consistent inconsistency has been a challenge because it's been hard to predict, right? I think sometimes it leads to a little chaos where they thrive. There are times in games where that inconsistency leads to chaos and they do end up thriving in it. The challenge is you can't predict it if you're Penny Hardaway.
Oh, man. Another bucket at the rim. Michael Weathers on the feed from Vanderbilt.
And I didn't think Penny was wrong at all. Look, maybe there's a better way to say it. I think media can be annoying. We're one of them, right? But at the same time, he wasn't wrong in terms of what he said about not having his guys and how much of a challenge that is.
That's just a frustration foul against Lawson, and it'll send us to the under 4. It has been an afternoon of frustration for Penny Hardaway, an afternoon of elation for SMU and the Weathers brothers. As there, brother. That was some good 22-point under 4 filler.
This, man.
Davis to the line. He's got 25 today. It's one of these seasons. It's one of these seasons where just when you think you've got this college basketball year figured out, when you think you got a certain conference figured out, it tips. It's been fun that way.
Like, they look unbeatable. Gonzaga, they look unbeatable. Purdue, they look unbeatable. And, they get beaten. And the reality is, when you see a team once, you see them against common opponents, you feel like you have a good game plan, you have confidence in the game plan, you go out and execute, you win some basketball games. There's a lot of dangerous teams that aren't even ranked. I know Alabama's ranked again. They're a dangerous team, man. There are teams that won't make the NCAA tournament that could make noise in the NCAA tournament. And I know people think that's silly, but it's not. If you watch enough Big Ten, you see teams like Northwestern, you're like, Northwestern's good. They just struggle to win games.
Rutgers the last month looks like the best team in the country.
Oh, my gosh.
Here's Davis, who's got 25. Davis blows by Quinones. Davis all the way home. 27 points for Kendrick Davis, who did not play 4 days ago due to an ankle injury. And the question there is, what ankle injury? As Minot finishes strong.
I mean, put him in the mixer, man. The hesitations, the head fakes, the shoulder fakes. I mean, this is good luck covering this. Watch the up fake. Whoop, got it. And the fact that you're able to finish and you freeze the defense. Watch when he goes to the basket. You freeze the defense with your eyeballs. He looked left, and I believe it was Weathers to his left. Could be making that up, but he looked left to freeze the defense as he elevates. Defense isn't able to time it. I mean, that's a heady play, right? That's a lot of experience applied to one play.
Well, listen, you got a 1-2 shot, but it was a Weathers, so your odds are pretty good there because they're both in the game.
I mean, quite frankly, I'm not sure who it was.
You don't have to. Just say the last name. Davis, by the way, last 5 games coming into tonight, 5 for 23 from 3. He's 6 for 10 in this one. Have been shooting it much worse. Hasn't looked anything less than 100% today. He fires, and he misses a 3. Figure he'll probably be out of the game soon here. He's getting tangled up with Quinones.
Wow, they're letting Quinones go a little bit. And I don't mind it. I like the fact that Quinones is fighting.
I think Tim Jankovic might want a timeout here to get Davis out of the game. Now he'll keep it going.
We've played Memphis enough. Just don't let up, man. Memphis is tough. How many games have we seen them come back in the last few minutes? No reset of the shot clock.
Weathers. And Weathers knocks it out of bounds.
Michael Weathers, plays with and exudes great energy. It's almost, I think contagious is bad, infectious is good. It's almost infectious, right? Where he just impacts the team around him with his good energy.
Darius McBride is going to check in for SMU. They're going to go to the bench here. Marcus Weathers, 20 points, 7 rebounds, and a much-deserved ovation. And Stefan Todorovic will come in as well. And
SMU players, they're all looking around saying, well, who you got? There's like 7 dudes on the floor.
And now the standing ovation for Kendrick Davis.
So last 2 games, you think of the lack of production from Kendrick Davis. Understandably, dealing with injury. And then today, how much better they are when he is your guy.
This was a restating performance from Kendrick Davis, why he is probably the best player, or at least, if not best, the front runner to win Conference Player of the Year, and SMU is going to stay alone in second place.
But I also think SMU's found some things, guys like Aguinane, who you can rely on. I mean, he's given great energy and effort. He hasn't tried to do too much. That's a weird thing to ask a guy, hey, don't try to do too much. Just go play. He's been great.
Phelps. Yeah, for a while there, this looked like it was going to be the Franklin Agonane game. That's going to be a goaltend against Phelps, and Tyler Harris's first points in a game.
Phelps is going to be good. He's struggled a little bit. I think he struggled with the length, the athleticism, the physicality, but there are a lot of pieces here that are going to improve, and SMU's proving to be a dangerous bunch. And they've overcome a tough loss on the road that they shouldn't have had happen, but still have to give credit to Temple for winning a big game.
Todorovic. The end of a 6-game win streak for Memphis. Joe Lunardi says they're still likely to be in the projected field with a loss today. Obviously, that's a little bit more tenuous. SMU started the day 3 teams outside the projected field, and they will likely move up. Weathers a block on Lawson. One more 3 for Harris. And that'll do it. Season sweep of the Memphis Tigers for SMU. And the Mustangs win their 15th consecutive game.